Welcome to Suzuka on a hot but increasingly cloudy day. We're all set for two qualifying sessions for the Japan Cup. A new standalone event started at Sugo early this year, went to Fuji 2 weekends ago, and here at Suzuka, all to play for with the final round at Okayama at the end of August. Two 15-minute qualifying sessions. Had a bit of a jumble with a few drivers changing teams for this. JBR, Japanese Bronze Racing, turning up with Mu Katayama and Hiro aboard the GT4 McLaren 570S this weekend. And Masataka Inoue joining SRO Motorsport this weekend, but actually because they crashed their Mercedes yesterday, they're entered in a Ferrari, a challenge car 488. Right, track temperature nearly 50 degrees and humidity at, well, listed at 255%. I know it feels like that sometimes, but the measure here, as we look at the sea in the distance beyond Suzuka, down the slope from Suzuka, it's a hot, humid day. Looking for flags, not really flying too much this morning. They were a bit windy early on, but for the drivers, it's about getting a quick qualifying lap in. We've got the two races for the Japan Cup. The first at just before 3 o'clock this afternoon at 2:55. The second, following the second of the two Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia events tomorrow, will be at 2:10. 15 minutes of qualifying. Driver 1 will set the time for today's race. Driver 2 will set the time in the session that follows just immediately afterwards, with just a 7-minute break in between them. Exactly the same format as GT World Challenge Asia. And Yuki Fujii will be going out in car number 50, which is the Easy Racing BMW M4 GT4. So we've got cars running in GT3 and GT4. There's no doubting the number 9 car is a GT3 car. Look at the massive splitter at the front, the rear wing on that mighty Corvette C7 GT3R. And Bingo Racing hit the ground running in 2024. Got things rolling with 2 wins from a Corvette for their Corvette in the opening race at Sugo. Sorry. Oh, in fact, the wind is starting to pick up a little bit for those photographers who are just trying to have a little bit of shade, waiting for the cars to come out. D-Station Racing had a slight change of plans, and they're running a GT4 entry this weekend because one of the team's GT3 Vantages, Aston Martin Vantages, got damaged and at Fuji, and so everything got shuffled along. But the car that really is on the greatest form has been the K-Tunes Racing Ferrari, the Ferrari 296, shared by Shinichi Takagi and Daisuke Yamawaki. And that was working its way towards the front of the queue at pit exit. Do not adjust your eyes, that's the race livery of the K-Tunes Racing cars. Look fantastic. They run a Lexus and a Ferrari. And for good measure, a Toyota Supra in GT4 as well. Right, onboard camera with Yorikatsu Tsujiko for Comet Racing. So he'll be getting out early. Great sights, colours, but just to run back what we've had, 2 wins from the 2 races for the Bingo Racing Corvette at Sugo, 2 wins from 2 races at Fuji 2 weekends ago for K-Tunes Racing with their Ferrari. Haridamo Manopo ran solo in the GT4 class for Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia at Fuji, but he's got his regular teammate Seito Nonaka, well, now regular, back again. JPR, this is the car with an all-new crew. Yasutaka Ando and Osamu Kondo have been replaced for this weekend by an all-new pairing of Miyu Katayama and Hiro. And here's the cockpit with Shinji Takai on board. So the day started bright blue skies. It's now clouding over, but it's very warm, very humid. It's not warm, it's hot here at Suzuka. Yellow Ferrari, you can see just on the right-hand side of your picture. That's SRO Motorsports 488 Challenge car with which they're replacing their regular craft because ABSA's Mercedes got damaged yesterday, and a quick hunting around found a car that the team wanted to run, and that'll be running in GTC. So let me explain. GT3, first car out of the pit lane is GT3. That's all wings and a lot more power. GT4, less flamboyant in terms of all their aerodynamic aids. Take Sunrise Boulevard, really enjoying their time in the championship. They're running a GT4 Porsche 718 Cayman. Good to see that. Fantastic race delivery on that. And again, in these 15-minute qualifying sessions, it's you can pick your moment. With 15 cars on the track, there should be space. For the GT3 runners in Fanatec GT Asia, then it was much, much busier. But right now, Yorikatsu Suzuka can just accelerate. He's trying to get some heat into those Pirelli slicks in his 296 GT3 Ferrari. Track flattens out through the Dunlop curves, get to the Degnas. Degna 1, Degna 2. And after Degna 2, which is just coming up now, turn to the right, under the bridge. Very unusual. I think there's a circuit in Finland, Arvanisto or somewhere, that has a crossover like that, but a rarity all the same. Drivers don't really notice. They just go into the dark, back into the daylight, and have to approach the hairpin, where Yorikatsu Suzuka, neat and tidy. This is their outlet, though. You'll see them starting to pick up speed. And here comes the SRO Motorsports Ferrari. I have to stop saying McLaren or Mercedes. They've run many marques over the years, but this is a Ferrari 488 Challenge car. And suitably, the other car that's running in the GTC class is right behind it, which is rather fitting, which is Haga, Makoto Haga, 83 Gamma Racing. So those would be fighting for class honours. Here's the number 82 Sunrise Boulevard Porsche. We saw it in the pits. That's running for GT4 honours. And the K-Tunes Racing Ferrari. Working its way through the final corner, flashing past my commentary box and off down the hill. And that's the car that has had such success. A pair of seconds at the opening rounds at the wonderful Sportsland Sugo circuit, and a pair of wins for this Ferrari last time out at Fuji just a couple of weekends ago, where weather conditions were in and out, dry and wet, so the drivers all on their toes. So climbing up through the S's, through the Dunlop curves now. Look at these S's, they just keep on going. And the Nissan car number 360 from Run Up Sports, Masaki Nishikawa and Atsushi Tanaka. Such support for the Nissan GTR Nismo. It's always been such a car since earlier iterations were launched. Ooh, wow, back in the early 1990s. They really put Nissan back on the sports car map. And there's the McLaren. Tadeo Uematsu runs that all on his own, a bit like some of the runners in the GT World Challenge Asia event. 1 hour race. This is a 1 hour race, and he does it solo. And apparently, as soon as the racing's over, recovers on his boat. But it's going to be a hot old workout for the McLaren driver. So waiting for that first flying lap to go on the board. And just bear in mind, in the GT World Challenge Asia, the best lap was 2 minutes, almost flat, by Jules Gounon in his Climax Racing Mercedes. So it tends to be the GT3 runners who are, well, clearly faster. They're at the front of the queue coming down. Some of them we're riding on board the Comet Racing Ferrari going through 130R, and the Ferrari in front of me is, oh sorry, that's McLaren is backed off. That's Tadeo Uematsu. And Suzuka balances the car. Best result so far is a 3rd position last time out. So Suzuka puts the first flying lap on the board. 2 minutes 4.47 seconds. That's 2 and a bit seconds faster than the next quickest time, which is the number 98 K-Tunes Racing Ferrari, with Daisuke Yamawaki at the wheel. Best of the GT4 times on the boards. Car number 50, which is the Easy Racing BMW, and Yuki, double checking which driver they got on board. In fact, it's yeah, Yuki Fuji on board that one. Spotting one of the other GT4 runners. That's Wakayama Toyota with Hojust Racing running the team. Toshi Yuki Ochai at the wheel of that. I must say the Supra GT4s just look spot on in this category since it was launched. Notably popular here in Japan, but all round around the world, Europe, States, wherever GT4 is raced, there will be Toyota Supras in the pack. So the best of the GT4 times on the board is a 2 minutes 13, so you're talking just under 9 seconds. That's a comparison down on the GT3 pole time. All these times have come round. If you look at the bottom of your screen, that we've got Suzuka going faster and faster in the Comet Racing Ferrari, so he's done his banker lap, which is 2 minutes 4.4, which is 2 seconds clear at the moment, but still waiting for something to come from Bingo Racing. They're on their out lap. Bear in mind that they run that mighty Corvette, and it's Shinji Takai at the wheel, but he hasn't set a flying lap yet, so we don't know how fast the best of the GT3 runners is going to be. But at the moment, the best of the GT3 runners is 2 minutes 4.4 seconds. That's the Comet Racing Ferrari. Best of the GT4 runners is car number 50, Easy Racing Yuki Fuji. And the best of the GTC category cars is 5th overall, 2 minutes 11, and that's the number 16 entry, which is the Ferrari Challenge car brought in this weekend at the last moment by SRO Motorsports. Improvement at the top. Tadao Uematsu went briefly to the top and then was toppled because Comet Racing struck back. 2 minutes 3.935, gained half a second. The gap between first and second just under 0.4 of a second. Look and see if there are going to be any changes in GT4. Best of GT4 runners is now in 7th position. It's still the Easy Racing entry. The number 38 Toyota is 3rd in class. Beg your pardon. Still waiting to see what Bingo Racing can do with the number 9 Corvette. That's just approaching the entry to Spoon Curve at the moment on its first flying lap. That's and it's got clear track as well, so that's very, very good news indeed for Shinji Takai. 2 minutes 3.935, so 6th overall at the moment for Katayama, the number 16 Ferrari, but rather getting in the way of the K-Tunes Racing Lexus. Well, it's tucked in, using the slipstream. And of course, the original plan was for SRO Motorsport to have brought their regular steed, if you will, their regular Mercedes AMG that they run in the GT4 class, but they've had to change because it got damaged running the Ferrari. Tadao Uematsu, 2nd fastest at the moment. Is he going to go top? He's down by just under 0.4 of a second. And relative to the Ferrari, you can see he's had a dreadful middle sector. He's going to have to scrap this lap, so Tadao could go to the very top of the charts, which will give the driver who drives solo a great deal of pleasure. Entered by Team Machina. Oh, Tadao fails to take provisional pole position. 5 1/1000ths is what he needed to go top, but he's going to carry on pressing. But that certainly was built on a very, very good middle sector time for the McLaren 720S driver. Bear in mind, he doesn't want to try too hard here because he's got to go out in qualifying session number 2 as well, since he's running solo this weekend. Easy Racing BMW keeping out of the way wherever possible, letting the GT3 runners through, the GTC runners through as well, but his main concern is being top in GT4. At the moment, that is precisely what's happening. He's up by about 3/4 of a second from Hoshino in the GT4 Aston Martin. Right, Bingo Racing. First flying lap, Shinji Takai, good for 3rd overall. 0.7 of a second down, but bear in mind that his rivals have set a 2nd flying lap. He is now on his 2nd flying lap, and guess what? Purple, that's the colour that means your fastest fall. That's what he's achieved in the first of the 3 sectors, only by 35,000ths of a second. Coming up to 130R, the 2nd timing sector completed, and you know what, he's fastest in that as well. He's up by a big margin. This could be the lap for original pole. Still time, just under 5 minutes remain in this session. Bit of GT4 traffic, doesn't see him round the outside. Look at the acceleration, listen to the power of that Bingo Racing Corvette down the slope. Up to the top of the charts by 0.265 of a second, maybe slightly compromised coming out of the final corner, but has got things going well. Now, what can the best of the Lexus do? And at the moment, Kazunori Suenaga up to 4th overall, not quite within a second, but certainly this session is closing up. It's Bingo Corvette at the top of the charts. Here's the GTC Porsche rather getting in the way of Nishikawa in the number 360 run-up sports. Nissan's got all that grunt. In fact, the acceleration of the GTC Porsche wasn't too bad out of that final corner onto the straight, but the power of the GT3 Nissan surely would be enough to get him past. Wants to get past before turn 1, carries on down the slope, he's forcing him out the inside, but there is no inside as Makoto Haga just pulls across, so that is unfortunate. Now he's finally sort of seen him, but that's rather wrecked both of their laps. K-Tunes Racing, as I said, very busy indeed, running 3 cars, but not just 3 cars. They've got 2 in GT3, which is the Lexus we've just been looking at, with the Ferrari 296. And this is the GT4 Toyota GR Supra that they're running. Yoshihiko Nagai at the wheel. He's down in 14th position overall. In fact, one car hasn't set a flying lap. This one, Haridama Manopo, Indonesian racer who's competing in, you're allowed to be a driver from Japan in the Japan Cup or a driver from Southeast Asia. And Haridama is the only non-Japanese driver who's competing in this. He's been with the series for several years now, getting better and better in his Supra. The target time for him in GT4 at the moment is 2 minutes 13.2. He's moved up to 2 minutes 14.6 on his first flyer. That means he's in position if his second one, which needs to come sort of now, could be good to get right up to the front end of his class. Change at the top, well, not at the top, up to 4th place goes number 98, which is the K-Tunes Racing Ferrari, and that's Daisuke Yamawaki. Got time to improve. Top 3 drivers have been improving, but what's happened? The Comet Racing Ferrari came into the pit. It's now on an out lap, so it's got time, possibly thrown some new rubber at that. Bingo Racing Corvette going very slowly. Shinji Kai looks like he's just cruising in rather than anything else. If he's cruising in, that means he won't be able to get round in time to put new rubber on and come out. So the second set of drivers getting ready to go out. That's Sunrise Boulevard's Daiki Fujiwara waiting for his turn. Tadeu, there's the JBR car. It's the McLaren 570S, so it's running in the GT4 class. That's had Miyu Katayama, and Hero is going to take over for the second session. The distinctive way those McLaren doors open always appeals to people when they're on a grid walk. Taking a look at that. Right, looking for progress from Haridama Manopo. Well, it's coming because he's improved in Sector 1. Waiting till he gets to the end of Sector 2. His best time so far in his Supra is 2 minutes 14.6 to take class pole. He got to get below 2 minutes 14. He's got that wonderful stretch of clear track out past the mini pit lane. That's just on the right of the circuit, but he's looking to get his run through 130R. Such a quick corner. Chance to rattle the fillings out of your teeth over the curbs on the outside. Then very short time after you got out of 130R, got it under control. It's in, out of the Casio triangle, and then trying to get a decent line through the final corners, carry speed down the hill. Got time for a further flying lap. There's half a minute left on the clock, and Manopo goes to second in class. The reason it's only second is that there was an improvement. The number 50 Easy Racing BMW moved the target. Instead of a 2 minutes 13.9, the target became 2 minutes 13.2, and Manopo did it something in between, 2 minutes 13.5 seconds. Run Up Sports with their car run by Tomai. Pressing on Masaki Nishikawa, car number 360, down in 6th place overall. So it's slowest of the GT3 runners, but he's slowest by some margin. He needs to find 3.5 seconds to improve on that. But he did seem to do a number of slowish laps early on. Look, he's improved enormously in the first sector, then a really slow middle sector. Won't get a chance to do anything else because he'll come and take the checkered flag that's just been reached. Comet Racing, though, came in, changed tyres, back out. They're second overall, need to find just over a quarter of a second. They found 31 thousandths in the first of the timing sectors. That's a short sector. Now seeing what he can find in the middle sector, because at the moment he's sitting in second place for Comet Racing, the bingo, and he's going to have no improvement. 360, is he going to make it a 720? Oh, about a 710 degree spin, but importantly for him, nothing was hit. He'd improved in sector 1, he'd improved in sector 2, and coming out of, yes, 130R, that's a place to lose it, but the important thing, he didn't hit a thing. So late challenge there, and it was looking very good indeed. It was going to be very close for pole position, but I think Bingo Racing, now the checkered flag is out, have got everything under control. Just looking to see if anybody else is improving, and car 98 is making its move. Here it is, caught beautifully by the TV director there. K-Tunes Racing there, Ferrari, Daisuke Yamawaki, can he go top? His first sector is good, his second sector is fastest of anybody. Target time 2 minutes 3.67 seconds, 2 minutes 3.348, and that is a fabulous run. So producer and director in tandem down there, calling the shots in the truck and picking that one up. Perfect timing down there. K-Tunes Racing, Daisuke Yamawaki takes pole position. Been racing in Super GT and GT level competitions since about 2015, but running GT4 with us here before, but stepping up to GT3 again for this, and he's got the job done beautifully there. So pole position by 0.3 of a second. Going. But wait to see, check that's confirmed, because of course he did that late on, and we did have the Comet Racing Ferrari that had been taking a tilt for pole position, parked at the side of the circuit some distance beyond the exit of 130R, so we'll keep an eye out for that at the moment. Car 96, one of the sister cars from K-Tunes Racing, that's the Lexus, had several times omitted, deleted for exceeding track limits. So Comet Racing wondering where the Ferrari is. We know where it is. It's just short of the final corner, but it's now arrived back in the pit lane, so it got going again after its rotation. Here it is. Let's take a look. 130R, all focus on getting the right line, because this is a corner over the ears that has proved it can bite. Why did the tail go? Well, it started going, and for the driver at that point, it's how to mitigate the circumstance and make sure that as you spin, the tarmac runoff area does its job and slows the car. Came up short of the barriers. So there's the driver. Well, good to see there's humour there. He had his moment and got away with it. In fact, it's very kind of him. It means he provides a car for his teammate to have a go in the second of the qualifying session. So Yusuke Yamasaki should be rather relieved there. So what's going to happen next? Just remembering that first session, it was 2 minutes 3.348 seconds for pole position, and that was for car number 98 from K-Tunes Racing. Ferrari's looking good in that, one challenging for pole and getting it wrong. That was Comet Racing, they ended up third, but Yamawaki top of the table there for K-Tunes Racing. There it is with their red Ferrari. Busy team, they run two other cars, two different makes of cars. Shinji Takai, Bingo Racing Corvette in second position, toppled right at the end, and then Suzuka in the Comet Racing Ferrari with that spin, and he ended up just ahead of Tadeo Uematsu, who runs solo in his McLaren, just 0.004 of a second between them, but also within a second of pole positions. K-Tunes Racing, that 96 Lexus lost a few laps for track limits, had those times taken away, it's still within a second. Top in GTC was SRO Motorsports with their Ferrari Challenge car ahead of Makoto Haga in his Porsche, and top in GT4, job very well done by the number 50 Easy Racing crew there, and Yuki Fujii top of the GT4 class. Now let's do it all over again. Second session in Japan Cup coming up very soon indeed. So there's the car that took pole position for race one. That's this afternoon here at Suzuka. Race start will be at 5 minutes to 3, 14:55. And then, of course, now we've got the second of the qualifying sessions, which will define the grid for tomorrow's second Japan Cup race. That will be at 2:10. 1 hour of racing, driver change in the middle. Right now, let's take a look at what happened when the cars went out on the track. 15 cars went out to play, spread between GT3, GTC GT4 as we look back at the highlights of the first of the qualifying sessions. 15 cars go out to play, space aplenty on the track, and it was about building up to speed. Comet Racing with its Ferrari went to the top of the charts early on. And then it was sitting there with Yorikatsu Tsujiko's time there to be shot at. K-Tunes Racing with its Ferrari 296 GT3, car number 98, picked up, and was going faster and faster in GT4. A whole array of teams were looking for glory, including Wakayama Toyota right there. Toyotas looked good, but the BMW from Easy Racing was definitely closing in. New this weekend, the Ferrari Challenge car entered at the last moment for SRO Motorsport, running in GTC class, and it would top that. And the Lexus just getting a little bit frustrated there for K-Tunes Racing, decided to go one way, it was the wrong way. Now riding on board with Wakayama Toyota, that's the view going through that final chicane, the scene of so many incidents across the decade. Then the wonderful sweep down on a good day with a view to the sea down the start-finish straight. Late in the session, Yorikatsu Tsujiko was pushing on, and just too hard. The exit of 130R, he went for a 720-degree spin, got away with it. But while he was doing that and the tyre smoke was settling, K-Tunes Racing with Daisuke Yamawaki pounced and took pole position. So neat and tidy and all to do again. So the drivers who did the first session stand aside. They impart the knowledge of what they gained out on the circuit in their 15-minute qualifying session to their teammates who are about to replicate that job. But let's go down to Amy. She's caught up with Daisuke Yamawaki, who took pole position in the first of those qualifying sessions.
So this is a pole sitter, 3 out of 3 this season. Let's ask how he feels about it. 3回中3回目ということでおめでとうございます。最後の最後まで引っ張りまして役者かと思いました。
役者じゃないんですけど、ちょっと引っかかっちゃったりとかですね、いろいろあったんで、結果的にあなったっていうだけで、本当は1アウティング目でタイムを出したかったんですけど、ちょっといろいろコース上でありまして、あんな感じになっちゃいました。はい、車のコンディションとしてはどうですか？この後レース控えてますが。車は多分4日間で一番なんかバランスはいい感じなんで、あとちょっと昨日よりやっぱり路面の温度と気温が低いのか、グリップがすごいある感じだったんで、このままあんまり晴れないでほしいなっていう感じです。ではこの後レース頑張ってください。ありがとうございます。おめでとうございました。So the reason why he got the flying lap on the last lap is because on all the other laps he got a little bit of traffic and a few incidents happened. So that was why, because I asked, are you an actor? Pulled it out to the last lap, but no, apparently something happened. But the condition of the car is great and he's very much looking forward to the race this afternoon.
Thank you, Amy. Thank you very much indeed. And of course now it's changed to the second driver, so Daisuke Yamawaki can cool down. It's the job of Shinichi Takagi, and they've been a very, very good double act because of the 5 qualifying sessions so far. That number 98 K-Tunes Racing Ferrari has been top in every single one of them. So now is the turn of Daisuke's teammate Shinichi Takagi to prove that he too can take pole position and make it 6 from 6 for them. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll see what Takagi can manage. He's a driver with a huge amount of experience in the GT300 category, the subcategory, if you will, in Super GT. He was champion in, this is quite impressive, 2002, and then once again, 17 years later in 2019. So clearly loves his racing. Here's the Easy Racing BMW that took pole position in GT4 in the first qualifying session. And it's now the turn of Masaki Kano to be at the wheel of that number 50 M4 GT4, so a lot of experience being put on board that one. Masaki, born in 1976, so he's had hasn't got as many candles on his birthday cake as I have, but clearly a lot of experience to bring in there. Riding down the pits towards the pit exit, Yusuke Yamasaki's taken over the car that his teammate Suzuka had that extravagant but fortunately damage-free end to the first qualifying session. Spinning anywhere at Suzuka is a matter of how should we say, sort of something to raise your heartbeat, but to do it at 130R, I think is multiplied by at least a factor of 2 or 3, but they got away with it. Now, Matoki at the wheel of the rumbling, multi-coloured Corvette down through turn 1 and turn 2, and actually this is a great place to be on board because up ahead, turn, it doesn't look as though it's climbing steeply, it isn't yet, but it will certainly get going into the S's. You take the left, the right, hey, you're not over yet. Get the car over to the right of the circuit to turn left again. We're going to right coming up further. The track is now steeper. And only here as it starts to flatten out. And you can see in that sequence of S's, get it wrong at any point and it just builds. Your error is multiplied. But nice, neat and tidy from the number 9 crew. But this is their outlap. You'd expect nothing more, nothing less. Right, the time I'm going to put in your heads. 2 minutes 3.348 seconds. That was pole for qualifying session number 1 for the Japan Cup. This is the second Japan Cup qualifying session that's going to sort out the grid for tomorrow's race, the Sunday race here at Suzuka. And there is Tadao Uematsu, first driver out of the pits. He's driving solo, so already he's done qualifying session number 1. Actually, don't be surprised if he doesn't do all of this session because he knows what the track's like. He's just banged in a lap of 2 minutes 3.923 seconds, so I think that's about equal to the time he set in the first qualifying session, and that was his first flyer, so he's clearly got everything under control here in that great looking 720S McLaren. Yeah, it's got space all around. Sorry, Tadao Uematsu, the screen changed so quickly, I just noticed, I saw his name, he did a 2 minutes 7. 2 minutes 3.923 was the run-up sports Nissan, which must have done it at about a similar time, so that's way clear. Uematsu can build up towards something like that. Right, well, tell you what, we heard from the GT3 pole sitter for qualifying session number 1, but let's go down in GT4. It was easy racing and Yuki Fuji, who has been caught by Amy.
ポルポジションおめでとうございます。なんか前回のね富士でちょっと取りこぼしちゃったんで真ん中をはい期待したいと思うんですけど、ポルポジションのお気持ち。
ありがとうございます。自分鈴鹿を走るのがこれで人生で2回目でまだ全然ちょっと分かってないんですけど、もうちょっと前の車に引っかかっちゃってベストタイム出なかったんですけど、なんとかギリギリポール取れてちょっとホッとしてます。はい。
車の状態はいかがでしょうか、レースに向けて。
はい、すごくいいので、ちょっと周りの車もかなりストレート速いんですけど、ちょっと自分たちは違うところでタイムを稼いで、はい、頑張りたいと思います。はい。
レースも期待してますんで、はい、まずはポールポジションおめでとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
So apparently this is his second time in his life driving this circuit, so he's very, very happy about this pole position. Also, he had a little bit of traffic, so he wasn't really sure, but he's very, very happy that he landed on P1. And the car is looking great, so he is going to push his best in the race this afternoon.
Thank you, Amy. Yuki Fuji, he has a very, very short racing CV. As Amy mentioned, his second visit here. He's only raced here before in the TCR, the sort of silhouette touring car class. He's stepped up to GT4 this year. Clearly one to watch. Right, the car that's fastest, run-up sports. This lap almost equally quick to the previous one. You can see he gained 0.3 of a second, then equal to his best in the second sector, and then slightly slower in the third of the sectors. But certainly Atsushi Tanaka, a long-time runner in the GT3 category for Tomoe Sports, is settling in very nicely in the Japan Cup in the number 360 Nissan. Going through the entry of the sweepers, up the hill, up through the S's. But Tadao Uematsu in the McLaren was about 3 seconds down and got to within half a second of him. Tadao now 2 minutes 4.3 seconds. And the Comet Racing Ferrari with Yusuke Yamasaki is also getting closer. 1.6 seconds covers the top 3, but it was a very quick start from the 360 Nissan. Right, in GT4, who is top? It's this driver. It's the car that took pole for the class in qualifying session number 1. And Masaki Kano, all those years and decades of experience, is doing a very good job. Is anybody else close to him in GT4? Well, the answer to that is no. 1.8 seconds to the good at the moment. And Tadao Uematsu looks like he is improving. First sector. Hey, this could be heading towards pole if he gets past the traffic, which he's managed to do. Unfortunately, it's cost him a bit, so he's lost 2/3 of what he gained in the first sector, but he's still up. He's just under half a second down on pole. Still the run-up sports Nissan at the top. I think that traffic may have just cost him a little bit. Uematsu, best time. And he goes top, 2 minutes 3.8. That was a really, really good final sector from him there in the McLaren. So we've got a McLaren toppling the Ferrari. This 98 Ferrari has taken 5 pole positions out of 5 attempts in the 5 qualifying sessions so far. This is qualifying session number 6, but look, the purple flash underneath the tyres mean this is a huge gain for Takagi, but he has to, because he hasn't actually put a lap on the board as yet. So can he go to the top with his first flying lap? That's really quite an ask. He can, you know, not just top by nearly 3 seconds. That is sensational. That's a time that's very, very close to the best pace of the best of the Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia runners. That's phenomenal. That is a really, really good lap from Takagi. So K-Tunes Racing clearly got a very, very good balance to offer their drivers. Don't forget they're running a Lexus as well, and in GT4 running a Toyota, so a busy garage. And just to keep them smiling, the Lexus, the sister car to the Ferrari, their Ferrari that's got top, is now second fastest, just 0.75 of a second in arrears, and 97 is third in its class, third in GT4 Silver Arms. That needs to find a bit of pace, but the Ferrari we're looking at is absolutely flying. Fastest car in GT4 is this one, the Easy Racing BMW. Seems like a very lonely pit lane. I think everybody else is back out on the track. No, one other car in the pit lane at the moment. And in fact, it's number 360 Run-Up Sports Nissan. That's parked in the pits at the moment. We've got 4.5 minutes remaining. Right, where's the challenge coming from in GT4? We've just seen the car that's fastest in class in the pit lane. That's the BMW. Car at the moment there's 1, 2, 3, third overall in class, fourth overall in class. This one, Sunrise Boulevard, because in GT4 we've got GT4 AM and GT4 more experienced class, which is Silver AM, and the GT4 Silver AM. In fact, we just had a change in class because that was a good lap from the Sunrise Boulevard Toyota Supra. In GT4 it's gone top of the class. It's toppled the Easy Racing BMW by 0.3 of a second. The BMW car is going to be fighting back. And what can we have from 97? Here it comes, Masahiko Kageyama. Decades of experience for him. Just coasting around there. Red flag, red flag. And I'm afraid for Comet Racing, it might be their Ferrari just before the underpass, if you will, listed at the side of the circuit. So what we've got at the red flag moment is the 98 Ferrari coming into the pits with the fastest time, Shinichi Takagi. We've got 3 minutes 55 left on the flag. Morio Nitta, second fastest, also for K-Tunes Racing. He's at the wheel of the team's Lexus. And third fastest is the Bingo Racing Corvette of Motoki. And those top 3 cars, 1.1 seconds covering first to third. Very frustrating when you get a stoppage in a session, but for a lot of drivers they may have just been building up. For the number 50 Easy Racing GT4 BMW, that had just been toppled from the top of the GT4 charts, but was in the pits doing the right thing by the textbook, getting a set of fresh tyres on to go and try and set class pole position. 3 minutes 55 seconds remain. We'll see if we get to use that. So course vehicles out on the circuit. And last few cars just coming on home. Some had just passed the pit exit when the red flag was flown. So they suffer a bit of a disadvantage because however much time there is during this stoppage, if they're coming slowly at a bated pace around the track, they're losing time when they could be talking to their pit crews. Bingo Racing Corvette just coming in. That's third fastest at the moment. In fact, pretty much parking behind the cars that are first and second. First at the bottom of the queue is the 98 Ferrari, that's top of the charts. And the 96 Nissan, second in the queue, is second in the charts. This Bingo Racing car is third. The number 360 Nissan in the background is only sixth, and therefore slowest in the GT3 class. But all these crews waiting while the mop-up enterprise continues, but still about five cars coming home slowly around the circuit, so they're sort of losing time, as I said, when they could be talking to their crews. There is the Comet Racing Ferrari, and it's slipped wide on the second of the Degners, and just looks like it's slid into the tyre wall. In fact, when you go in that deep, it's quite hard for a driver to get out of the car. The driver will be sitting on the left-hand side, so if they can't open the door against the tyre walls, they just have to wait for everything to be pulled clear of them. But for those in the pits, it's a case of not relaxing, just focusing on how they can improve. A couple of the other cars coming in, the D-Station Racing GT4 Aston Martin this weekend coming in the background of the shot there. So just, I think, 97, which is the K-Tunes Racing GT4 Toyota to come in. There's the Toyota crew. That's going still only not yet at 130R. Number 82 also coming home slowly, the Sunrise Boulevard GT4 Porsche. But all is calm as the clear-up operation continues. So Comet Racing had a spin right at the end of the first session, qualifying session, session number 2, with just under 4 minutes on the clock. The red flag came out because their Ferrari in a dangerous position just before the drivers would go under the return leg of the track, under the bridge towards the hairpin. The Comet Racing Ferrari in the tyre wall at the side there, all the big units held together in blocks being removed so the car can be brought back. For the rest, just waiting for the final few moments of this qualifying session. And by the way, the Comet Racing Ferrari was 4th at the time. It's only just been toppled by the number 9 Bingo Racing Corvette. Fans out around the circuit, a little bit of a blow today, and any breeze is welcome because it's a hot day at Suzuka. Started bright blue skies, it's turned to rather grey, cloudy skies. They started building up from about 7:30 this morning, but in the pits the temperature is certainly very high indeed. Like so many circuits, the concrete just sucks in all the temperature and then just bounces it back at everybody down there, so it's a hot environment. 2 cars indeed. There's the Comet Racing car, now rather easier to see it, and now hopefully it'll be given a tow away from that position as the tyre stacks are put back into place. 2 crews didn't actually set a single flying lap. One was car number 38, which is Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia, Seita Nonaka. Sorry, he's 39. He didn't set a time, and neither did number 38. So 38 is they're both Toyota Supras, both in GT4, no time. Right. Sound of gravel and Ferrari racing engine as Comet Racing gets going all over again. So clearly the car's running fine. The front left corner, so the top left of your screen, may be a little bent. We couldn't see that because that was against the tyre barriers on the outside. Need to see the other flank of the car, but it seems to have 4 wheels that seems to be pointing in the right direction. So the long right, the long right-handed. So, well, Comet Racing, their car is limping back. But I tell you who's not limping, that's Amy Ozawa, because she's in the Comet Racing garage. Amy.
Look who I have found here, Keiko Tsullino, former champion of this championship. So you are the team director of car number 7, I see. How is the season going?
Yeah, so far so good. Apart from we just crashed out in qualifying, and yeah, it was too bad. But he was really quick. I think we could have gone for pole. Maybe I pushed him a little bit too much as a coach, but anyways, we're proving that we're out there, you know, fighting it out to try to win it. So we still haven't had this victory yet. So guys are pushing quite a lot, and yeah. But it's very entertaining to see them push. Yeah.
So Yamasaki-san is okay, and the car is also fine.
Yeah, he's completely fine. I think it's minor damage. He's driving the car right now, so yeah, it should be all good for race 1.
And also, this team won the Suzuka race 2 years ago at race 2.
Exactly, and they're champions from last year in the M class with the 488. This year, it's a new challenge with the 296. We still have a few races left. You know, we'll see. I mean, we're really pushing hard. We really want to try to win this race.
crossing my fingers for you, and good racing then this afternoon and tomorrow.
Yeah, wish us luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Amy, there with Kei Cozzolino. So much success in GT World Challenge Asia across the years. And look at that car. Doesn't appear to be any damage whatsoever. Just looking at the splitters on the front left-hand corner. Hopefully that is correct. But it's a point there, point that was made by Kei Cozzolino. So much success for him racing Ferraris. But it's when you move across from a 488 to a 296. It takes a while to learn, but, you know, he's doing what you need to do. He's pushing his drivers to perform, because they know full well that the car that seems to be setting the pace is another 296 Ferrari. It's the one from K-Tunes Racing. Shinichi Takagi and Daisuke Yamawaki share that, and that's the one that Takagi's got the top of the table at the moment. This is the second of the qualifying sessions for the Japan Cup. And we've got 3 minutes 55 remaining, looking for any further messages about the session restarting. But for the driver on board there, the walk quietly to the back of the garage for Yusuke Yamawaki. Sorry, Yamasaki. Get my teeth in. Yeah, looking at the side that went into the tyre wall, it doesn't even seem to be any scratches on the car. So it was obviously quite low speed impact. And then the tyre wall has one job to do, and that is clearly to absorb the impact, and it's done precisely that. So that's all that can be asked for. There are quite a few drivers out of their cars at the moment, and presumably, I don't know if everybody will go in, but there are two of the GT4 crews, cars respectively 38 and 39 from Wakayama Toyota with Hojust and Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia, that do not have a time on the board as yet. So they'll be cool and keen to get back out and do what they came here to do. But it's interesting hearing from Kei Cozzolino while he was just talking about the competition he has. He's so determined that Comet Racing will take a first win of 2024 and really would rather fancy doing it here. So the session is underway. The clock continues to count down. And the first car out is the K-Tunes Racing GT4 car, their Toyota Supra. Actually, right now it does seem as though you're going to get the GT4 cars going out to set the times, and the GT3 crews rather more sort of hanging back in the pit garage. Maybe they feel that, apart with the exception of Comet Racing, that their job is done and not much going to be improved. So Easy Racing with their BMW, they had just left the pits on a fresh set of rubber to go and do what you're supposed to do, which is go for pole position. Down the team garage there, looking and watching, but Hiroki Kano is Masaki Kano really pressing on. As you can see, the GT3 runners don't look as though they're going to bother going out, or if they are going to go out and set a faster time, but the bunch of GT3 runners are going to have to do so very soon indeed. 2 minutes 45 minutes remain in this restarted session. I think the time we have to consider is the time set by Daiki Fujiwara, because we're looking at the best of GT4. 2 minutes 11.7 seconds, so it's actually very close to the second of the GT3 runners, which is the Gamma 83 Racing entry of Makoto Haga. But Masaki Kano, neat and tidy. The GT4 just doesn't even look as though it's going very fast, but the sector times are looking sensible. But it's about building up on this lap to deliver on the only flying lap they'll have time for in this session. And Masaki, just everything under control, neat and tidy. Certainly enjoying the run in the Japan Cup. And just about a month ago, it was the first standalone Japan Cup event at Sugo. Then it went and was on the support act for GT World Challenge Asia, Fanatec GT here in Asia. That was at Fuji, and 2 weeks later we're here at Suzuka. We're visiting the best ones, the good ones, the big ones for the Japan Cup. So that's the outlap completed. It's about to be completed for number 39, Seita Nonaka. Here he comes, Toyota Gazoo Racing Indonesia. Right, outlap complete. He didn't get a time on the board, didn't get a flying lap in the first nearly 10 minutes or so of this session for whatever reason, in and out of the pits a bit, but now's got to deliver. And this will be a one-off shot, a one-shot go, try and take class pole for Nonaka, because we have only 47 seconds remaining. He won't get round before the checkered flag falls. He'll get round in time to be greeted by it. So the 23-year-old Japanese racer pushes on. Looks quite sinister, doesn't it? That sort of matte black with the white and red lettering of GR for Gazoo Racing. And of course, it's an improvement on anything he's done before, because he hasn't done anything other than an outlap before. So let's just remember the target time for Seita Nonaka. It is the best of GT4 so far, 2 minutes 11.7 seconds. Masaki Kano, car number 50 for Easy Racing, is also pushing, see if he can go top. He was top just before the session was red flagged, and then just at that moment while he was in the pits, Fujiwara went to the top for the Sunrise Boulevard Porsche team. Looking like two very good laps, looking at their splits. And if you think, gosh, they've gained so much in those sectors, don't forget that's compared to their outlap, or in some cases even the lap they were doing when they were coming in slowly when the red flag had been thrown. But right now, Masaki Kano, 2 minutes 12 was his best so far. Looks like he's going to beat that, or is he? Yes, 2 minutes 11.583. So he goes to the top. The checkered flag is out. He is top in GT4. But what can this driver do? Seita Nonaka. What can some of the others do as well? We'll keep an eye on everybody who's out there, because 38 Wakayama Toyota is there. So the final corner is being dispensed with Seita Nonaka. His first flying lap is good for third in class, 2 minutes 12.2. What a shame he didn't get one in earlier, but that was competitive. And in fact, it's only good for fourth, because he was actually toppled right at the end by Suehiro, went top in GT4 for 38 crew from Wakayama Toyota. And Seita Nonaka, well, he gave it a shot, was fleetingly second in class with his one flying lap, but got back to fourth by the end. And the driver that did it is in this car, the number 38 Wakayama Toyota Racing, run by Hojust Racing, and that was a great lap from him. That was real pressure. And in the end, in GT4, margin a third of a second, 0.32 of a second was the margin by which he took the class pole position. But outright, well, it's 6 poles from 6 runs for the number 98 K-Tunes Racing Ferrari crew, because Shinichi Takagi has matched his teammate Tosuke Yamawaki. They now have a challenge, and they've taken 3 poles apiece of the 6 rounds. So there is the table, fastest by 3/4 of a second in that session number 2, the qualifying session that was red flag. Morio Nitta, second for the same team, but he's not driving a Ferrari. Alexis instead. Matoki, third fastest in the Bingo Racing Corvette. Comet Racing, of course, they were the car that had the incident, and Yamasaki had to settle for 4th overall. It could have been more. Tadeo Uematsu running on his own, good for 5th. And at the end, Atsuki Tanaka for Run-Up Sports with his Nissan. Best of the GT3s was Masataka Inoue. And best of GT4s, 1 position behind. A great push there at the end for Wakayama team to come into that position. But it's 6 poles from 6 qualifying sessions for the K-Tunes Racing team, and I'm sure the drivers on board will be very happy indeed with that. It was Takagi who completed that particular run to take pole for them. So Shinichi Takagi will be relieved. And of course, a lot of the GT3 runners didn't go out at the end of the final 3 minutes of that session. They thought they'd done pretty much what they could do. But for Shinichi Takagi, that was a job done very nicely indeed for K-Tunes Racing. Such a busy team, as I said, running 3 cars. Not just 3 cars, 3 different ones. But let's go down, because I mentioned Shinichi Takagi, and Amy has caught him. Let's hear from our pole sitter.
And another pole for this team, 高木選手、ポールをこう積み上げていって、全クリ狙えますね。
狙いたいです。せっかくいい車乗らさせてもらってるんで、はい、頑張りたいと思います。
8戦中6回 でチームでポール取るってすごいことだと思うんですけれども、すごい仕上がりですね。
そうですね、本当に今年からね、こう296を使い始めたんですけど、その中で、本当に今、チーム一丸となってね、セットアップ進めていってるんですけど、本当、比較的いい方向にずっと行ってるような感じがします。
今週末暑いですけれども、レース頑張ってください。
本当ですね、この暑さ、何なんですかね、本当、南国に来たような感じですけど、十分暑さも含めて楽しみたいと思います。
期待してますんで、頑張ってください。ありがとうございます。So yes, it's the first season for the 296 to be driving in this championship, and he's very happy about this pole, and he's looking forward to clear all of the pole positions. So it's another 2 left, I guess, and he is aiming for that as well. And the car is looking great, and he will be having fun in the race this afternoon. Back to you.
Thanks, Amy. Hearing there from Shinichi Takagi, but looking back at the session, it was all about getting out on the track and finding a place to put your car. Tadei Uematsu led the run-up Nissan out onto the circuit. Uematsu running solo, set a very quick time early on, but then he'd already done the first session, so possibly feeling a little bit weary, and eventually he was picked off by the rivals. The Bingo Racing Corvette was going better and better in the hands of the driver who likes to be known just as Motoki. Great rumble and roar as it works its way around this most fabulous of car circuits. But it was K-Tunes Racing, and in no time at all, Shinichi Takagi went to the top of the charts, neat and tidy, learning the 296 with great aplomb, and he had a target. He had to match his teammate to make it 3 poles positions apiece, which he did. The session was red flagged because unfortunately the number 7 Comet Racing Ferrari, Yusuke Yamasaki, slid wide, no particular damage done. The session was restarted, and the Easy Racing BMW was pushing to see if it could take top in GT4. In fact, it was the GT4 car that were out there at the end. It's a real challenge from Seita Nonaka, and while we were looking at their pace, the number 38 took top in GT4, and that was a very good lap for Wakayama Toyota for Takeshi Suehiro. So the qualifying is all done. The cars are back in the paddock, and it's going to be a busy day here at Suzuka. The next racing action will be for the Fanatec GT World Challenge, and then Japan Cup. Looking at the cars here, will have their first of their 2 races at 2:55 here at Suzuka. So a packed agenda, and we've done the qualifying. We've got the 4 pole positions across the 2 championships, and we wait for the racing. And very much look forward to that. It's a hot day, a humid day, but it's going to be a day packed with action, and we just cannot wait to see how that is going to shape out. But just remember, if you're following the Japan Cup, their race will start, all things being equal, at 2:55, but Fanatec GT World Challenge Asia, powered by AWS, first of their 2 races, 12:25 here at Suzuka. So the GTC runners there, middle class, if you will, in Japan Cup. The Porsche in the background of the car that took pole in the class. But I tell you what, we haven't spoken to the GT4 pole sitter. Let's go down to the world of Wakayama Toyota, and here with Amy with Takeshi Suehiro.
And another pole for this team as well. 富士でもねポール取ってるんですが、いまいちレースでこう真ん中まだ行けてないというところで、はい、でもおめでとうございます。
ありがとうございます。はい。
車どうですか？速いのは見受けれたんですけど、レースの方では。
そうですね。予選に関してはもともと練習日から調子が良かったんで、ポール取れるかなとは思ってたんですけども、ただ今の予選の開始の時にハブボルトが折れて、慌ててメカニックさんが交換して、でなんとか予選始まっちゃってたんですけど、間に合ったって出ていったら赤旗になってアタックできずに残り数分になっちゃったから。やばいなと思って1周しかチャンスないと思ったんですけど、なんとかうまく まとまってよかったです、はい、
素晴らしいフライングラップでした。レースの方も期待してますんで頑張ってください。
ありがとうございます。よろしくお願いします。
So apparently the issue they had just before they couldn't have the time going is because the hub broke. 折れたんですよね。The hub broke, so they were trying to fix it, and then the red flag happened, and then he only had like 2 laps to go, and then he got it, so he's very happy about it, and tries to keep up with the pace in the race, and he's crossing his fingers for this team.
Thank you very much, Amy. So pole in the GT4 class. That was Takeshi Suehiro. All smile. Right, people are already crowding out to take a look at the cars. So we've got, as I said, we've got the Fanatec GT World Challenge. First race starting at 12:25. We'll be here with you for that. And then at 14:55, the Japan Cup. That's all from us for now. Goodbye.